Hello everyone. This was a good week of chapters despite no One Piece or Black Clover, with everything doing pretty well and a nice continuation set of chapters here. So we'll be starting off with Mission Yozakura Family, chapter 159, and this was a good chapter revealing some more truths, with Momo using some memory fruit to show Koyoichiro and Teo the truth of what happened to Koyoichiro's mother, which was that her and Momo planned to do something, inject the first head of the Yozakura family's blood into her and the female protagonist, and see if they survive or something. I'm not quite sure, but it seemingly didn't work, but did, as Koyoichiro's mother wanted to find the true enemy of the Yozakura family as the imposter first head of the Yozakura family, it would seem, was contradicting what every other generation head had said before then, which was that the first wanted to die very badly, and that's what they all had learned, and that was sort of the whole point, and now she wants to live was something that didn't make sense to them. So she wanted to survive whatever thing they were doing, and she would fight like hell to do so, but if she didn't, she believed the rest of the family would be fine, and Momo was going to have to, I guess, take what happened. Momo seems extraordinarily conflicted by this, but trusts his wife, and thus gaining the ultimate power that a head of the Yozakura family can do to their partner, which is boost them up with their blood, which she does to Momo. That's why he's so powerful. And thus we reach modern day. Everything happened as they seemingly planned, with Momo putting his faith in his children and Teo leaving their hopes and dreams in their hands, especially Teo, where he's pivotal to the next part of Momo and his wife's plan, I think. And that's where the chapter leaves off, with Momo being finished. So overall, I think I'll give this chapter a B. It was good seeing more reveals, the truth of this whole thing, and seeing as how we're getting another villain to fight for the family, which I think is pretty interesting, as we will probably get back to the regularly scheduled program of seeing the Yozakura family hang out and slowly but surely finding stuff happening. Again, probably having to rebuild their reputation as the real villain of the series is hiding in the background, and we just continue to have this series go on, which is nice. Having them continue just to be them, and the continuation of the series as a whole is a nice thing to see, and I do wonder how it will end, but I don't think we'll see that anytime soon, though I wouldn't be surprised if it jumped right into the final arc, quote unquote, if this is even the final arc, fairly quickly. I hope that doesn't. I hope this goes on for quite a while of just hanging out. Eventually maybe a smaller villain shows up, again, them having to rebuild their reputation, whatever it may be. I hope it goes on for a while, but for now we at least got the reveal of a new major villain, as well as Momo's eventual defeat here. I think we'll probably get one more plan reveal or something in the next chapter, but I'm not completely certain. But this was a good chapter nonetheless. So now we're on to Undead Unluck, chapter 140, and this was a good chapter showing the beginning of their operation to take down Autumn, with Fuko turning into a book and Gina going into said book. Gina then witnesses what happens to her past self and the truth of Fuko and Gina's relationship before this current one, and we see that Gina is confused on what to do next or how to get more powerful. We then see that the current Gina was able to see past ghost form of herself, which shocked her, and they have a talk, go back and forth a bit, where the past Gina does not want to help Fuko, but after seeing something important with the jacket the current Gina was wearing, relents and helps the current Gina master her unchange ability by saying that it can work as long as it's commanded with her heart, as she follows her heart or puts her heart into her commands, something of that nature, which is fine. Gina is now very powerful, and we see that when she gets out of the book, she is able to stop Autumn and her attack. So it'll be interesting to see how Gina wins this fight, if she does so, and what happens next. So overall, I think I'll give this chapter a B. It was good seeing Gina go back, the progression of Fuko as we get to see her at the very beginning of the series again, seeing how she is very much changed from then, as well as to see that the old Gina helping the new Gina, and seeing that Gina is now powerful and this might work in the end, seeing how she is now fairly powerful at a fairly younger age and that she can help and is very loyal to Fuko. It'll be interesting to see how the other members end up continuing to rely on Fuko as she continues to recruit them. I do wonder how this fight will end, if we get to see the full fight, if it goes further, how Nico and his wife and even Fuko can help in this scenario, or if it's all up to Gina to win. We'll have to see, but this was a good chapter of just seeing the progress of the story. So now we're on to Mashle, Magic and Muscles, chapter 137, and this was a good chapter, seeing more of the Doom versus Mash fight as they continue to beat each other to death, though the problem is neither one of them can hurt each other, as we see that Doom attacks Mash, and Mash is completely unfazed as he is able to negate all of the attacks through his sheer amounts of ridiculous athleticism, as well as seeing that Doom can take any hit from Mash as long as he's in his 90% form, if not even higher to 100%. So it'll be interesting to see how this battle continues, as the two of them can keep going back and forth all day without having a real major problem, with Mash insulting Doom thrown in there. So overall, I think I'll give this chapter a B. It was a relatively short chapter in terms of eventful things happening, as it is just legitimately the fight between Doom and Mash, with Mash's teacher explaining that Mash has now learned how to move his body in every increment so that he can get the maximum amount of power out of every muscle in his body, so he is infinitely more powerful, as well as just boosting himself up in general. He had been working out just for the sake of it and not with anything in mind, so now with his teacher's help, he was able to focus his time and energy, and now is again infinitely more powerful. Doom is also extremely powerful, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in this fight between the two of them as they keep going back and forth, with very little progress being made, as neither one can hurt each other until eventually, I assume, Mash is just able to hit him strong enough to hurt him and eventually win this fight, and then eventually have to fight Innocent Zero. So it should be pretty interesting to see how this fight turns out, as it's really ridiculous, as well as Mash continuing to insult Doom after Doom tries to insult Mash, but Mash just completely ignores the insults and tears down Doom with a very cutting comment. So it'll be very funny to see how this fight unfolds, especially with the others watching on and reacting to the ridiculousness of the fight, as it looks like everyone in the entire world is watching. So now we're on to Sakamoto Days chapter 100, and this was a great chapter showing the conclusion of the Shishibe and Yoshimura fight, as the two of them continue to go back and forth, and we see that the assassination attempt in the past for the head of the JAA was successful even after he killed his wife, because he simply gave up, it would seem, and the rest of the JAA want the old regime dead, and that includes him. So Shishibe is called to take care of him, but fails. So their fight continues here, as we are now pushing to the end of this fight. They keep going back and forth, slamming through buildings and so on, eventually leading to some sort of stage play that they seemingly interrupt, and they get the best of each other through different methods and techniques, and ultimately Shishibe wins this exchange. But before that, Yoshimura asks if Shishibe blames him for picking his family, and Shishibe says no, but he is getting tired of fighting Yoshimura because he can't keep making new reasons to kill him. So the battle is over, with Shishibe coming out on top, so it'll be very interesting to see what the fallout is of this battle. So overall, I think I'll give this chapter an A. It was great seeing this fight come to a conclusion as the two of them continue to battle through the town. The whole fight was very fun and interesting, varying from different spots and being fairly intense, as the two of them are stone stone-faced, just going back and forth, truly seeing the power of some of the top assassins in the world and the top characters of the world. It'll be interesting to see what the fallout is, as I said, given the fact that now, if Yoshimura is in fact dead, his son will not learn the truth of what happened, and neither will Amain's grandfather, unless Amain's grandfather already knew, and he will have to tell him. But for now, that is left up in the air, as well as what is going to happen with Shishiba, as we see that the JAA is unimpressed with him recently, and if he fails this, that they would go after him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him, seeing as how he succeeded, but they still might get rid of him nonetheless. So things are up in the air and fairly still tense with what's going on, but for now we have this conclusion to this fight. Maybe we'll get some more revelations or something here, but for now the fight is won and Shishibe is the victor. So that was all of the major chapters, and they were all very good, with each one having some level of personal stake, with Gina meeting her past self and finding her important person, that being Fuko, Mission Yozakura family, having it that Koyoichiro and Teo get one last moment with Momo and learn the truth of what happened in the major event and turning point of pretty much all of their lives. Mashle had just the battle between Doom and Mash, with some cutting comments from Mash that got fairly personal, and Sakamoto Days had the personal battle between student and teacher come to an end, with the student prevailing. So now we're on to everything else, with Jujutsu Kaisen being fine, Blue Box being fine, Tokyo Demon Bride being fine, some interesting stuff there, but it was fine. Ichino's Family's Deadly Sins was fine, with a very shocking twist at the end, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. It's not my favorite, as it's such a weird and macabre story, but I will continue to see if it gets any more interesting for me, or if it just simply is a interesting in general series. Cypher Academy was fine. Fabricant 100 was good, as I think the story continues to be interesting, as we learn there is now more of a quote-unquote group that is trying to fight and get rid of the Fabricants, that tries to help the main character, but the main character is dedicated to his goal of getting rid of all the Fabricants, and calls 100 the main Fabricant that's helping him, and she is very menacing. So the story is fairly interesting, and I look forward to seeing what happens as it continues to develop. Elusive Samurai was good, as we get to see more of the different sides building up each other, with the villains learning how they operate and how each one connects to one another, as well as the fact that the main general is a bad strategist, so the good guys actually have a major chance to win, as well as the good guys continuing to prepare for their major assault on their old homeland. P times 6 was good, as things continue to become interesting as each character continues to move forward. I do wonder what's going on with everyone, but it's slowly building itself up, so I look forward to seeing how it continues to build. And Ginka and Luna was good, as the fight with this evil mage continued, and everything looked bleak up until Ginka arrived and saved the day. So now he will fight this evil quote-unquote mage, and we'll see if he can actually pull it off in his snowman form. So that was all of the chapters. They were once again all very good. It was a very entertaining week overall, and I look forward to seeing where all of this goes from here. Now, this is probably going to be the last video of the year, so I'm going to say it all here. Have a happy holiday and a happy new year, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and as always, thank you for watching.